Hi, I'm Andrew Armstrong and welcome to the back office Teardown Lab. I thought we'll go for something a little bit different today, and this is something my kids did. And yeah, they were visiting somebody at their house and decided they were going to take some PVC drainage pipe, I think it was, and swing it around and see what this clock was made of. And this clock indeed is made of something fragile, as you can see here. But you know, I was presented with a bag full of clock when they got home, so I thought I'll give a go at repairing it. I've actually loosely assembled some of the bits, and I know for a fact it's missing some stuff, but perhaps it'll add to the patina of it if I can kind of get it assembled a bit. So that's the actual clock mechanism out, and there are the hands. We don't need those because this is the more critical puzzle here. And I thought, you know, it might be a nice opportunity to chat, have a little chat with you while I'm doing this, because sometimes it's a very one-sided thing being a YouTube creator. You occasionally talk to other YouTubers, but often you don't really have that much time to spend watching each other's videos and commenting or critiquing each other. So it can be very isolating at times. So I figured this would be the perfect opportunity to sort of talk about YouTube in general or making videos, because it's a very solitary activity. I'm going to try some Yoo-hoo. I don't really know if it's going to work. Yoo-hoo and some of this gaffer type tape. You decide what kind of content you're going to make, and you might want to make an epic blockbuster. But that takes time and takes resources, and time and resources are something that we all have in very extremely limited supply. So you have in your mind what you want the thing to look like or be like when you're done, but more often than not it just doesn't come out that way, and you kind of don't want to really let yourself get too disappointed over that, but you do get disappointed. Wow. By the way, this is a contact adhesive. It's really fumey. Woohoo! I'm going to be floating on cloud 9 in a moment. Now, with any other contact adhesive, or any contact adhesive really, you want to get it on both sides. You don't really need it as thick as I've put it, but I figured it's a ceramic, so it's going to sort of soak in. And I'm just going to put some on the other side. So the idea is you put a little bit on both sides. Normally just a thin smear is enough, if you can get away with it. And then you let that go ticky-tacky. Take a minute, could take a few seconds, it depends. I mean, if you sort of rub it with your finger, sometimes that can accelerate it, but there's probably health warnings against touching this with your finger, so read what it says and put on your gloves and your respirator and your eye protection and everything else that health and safety likely require you to do. I'm just going to grab a bit of blue paper to corner the camera, but again, something like blue paper could be really bad, because blue paper's going to sort of get all sticky and stick to your finger, and everything's going to stick together. I'm just going to run through this actually. I'm just going to really put the glue on everything, because I've realised now you've not really got much choice, because it's going to be very hard to sort of position this after you're done. I might actually ruin my back office mat today, because it's bound to get some glue on it all. That was my phone. Switch that off, but it's off now. Anytime I see a call on it that's from a mysterious place like Manchester, I just know it's going to be PPI. They just can't help it. They love it. Do you have PPI? Nope. Go away. I once actually spoke to one of these companies that was offering me some sort of legal PPI type thing, and I don't know where the guy was based, somewhere offshore, and give him a really good story. I don't know what it was. It was something like they were saying some sort of legal services, and I really crafted quite a yarn, and I was just going on for ages and ages, because everybody in the office was laughing, because it was hilarious. It was totally hilarious. At least I thought it was. Look at that, it's all bubbled up. That's weird. Look at that. You can see it's kind of really gone furry and bubbly. Must be reacting to ceramic. But the guy was lapping it up. He just had no idea I was just taking the piss, which frankly I think is ethically an okay thing to do. If it's someone trying to sell you crap or shill you some rubbish, I'm trying to just hold this up like that now on its end. No idea how I'm going to glue these other faces. Yeah, I think you can take the piss and just keep taking the piss for as long as possible. I can't remember what I told him. I basically told him I'd committed a murder, and if he could get me off it, then I'd be really appreciative, and how much would the premiums be, and all this sort of thing. And it went on for ages. I didn't buy anything in the end. But yeah, that amused me for a while. But then I figured my time must have been worth more than his time, so I actually paid for that. It cost me a little bit of my life for that little joke, but time I could have spent making YouTube videos. These cost me more though. These are by far the biggest time sink in my life, for sure. Bit more glue on that. I'm really struggling now to think how I'm going to actually hold all this together. I'm thinking let's just piece it all and see if any of it's self-supporting. I think on its face, because it's got this sort of lip around it, this sort of ring, that there is a possibility that it will sit on its face. Oh, and I kind of want to use this mat for something else right now too, so it's going to be impossible to move. Let me have a little look, see what we got. I do have another piece of wood. I'm going to see if I can just transfer it to the other piece of wood that's on my lap. I'm just going to do this piece by piece. Wow, these pieces are kind of adhering quite well. So the trick really is just letting it sit and cure for a while. Ah, the fumes. The fumes are so strong now. Anyway, back to the YouTube video meanderings. I'm still cracking them out daily, despite being crazy busy right now. I've got a bunch of stuff. I can kind of see that this might have a sunk recessy thing going on the front, but I think we're just going to leave it. So every now and then I just sort of think, oh, I'm going to sort of pack it in. Come on, let's just go do something else for your time. But then I get like a bit of feedback or something, and I'm just like, yeah, it's good. Some of these videos are quite useful to people, and I kind of want to be useful, I guess. Doesn't anybody want to have a purpose? And that's to sort of either share some wisdom or educate or just do something productive with the knowledge that they sort of gain. They sort of spend a lot of time messing around on the internet, don't you, researching stuff. I want to buy a new telly, I want to buy a new car, I'm going to do this, that and the other, but what good is that? It helps you make your decision, but you've not really helped anybody else save the time to make their same decision themselves or something similar. Give you an example. I've recently been looking at buying cars, and I've decided, if you're ever going to buy a car, by the way, here's my hot tip for how to do it, in the UK at least. First thing, you can go on look at the car you like, look at the registration number, and then go on the government website, just type in government MOT advisory, and that'll tell you the MOT history for that vehicle. So first thing then, you can see if they're lying. So if they're having it service, it's got full service history and all of that, it should always pass an MOT, because it means you're normally getting the MOT done with the main dealer and they won't fail it. So you won't see any advisories on the MOT, because they're supposed to service the vehicle and tell you it needs new tyres. They would never run an MOT test and then say it needs new tyres, because it would mess up your history, this particular MOT history that we're talking about. So always cotton onto that. If it's supposedly, again, full service history with a main dealer, and some people do write that, it's very easy to phone up the main dealer. So if it's like a Mercedes and it says full service history, main dealer, phone up Mercedes and then be more than happy to tell you if that's true or not. They'll give you that. They'll spend all the time in the world with you to tell you what's been going on with that vehicle. So it's absolutely brilliant. Do that. So once you've done the advisory thing and you're sure the vehicle looks all right, and also if you see in the advisories basic stuff like tyres worn out, it fails its MOT on tyres and stuff, don't worry about that. They're consumables. If it fails on loads of things though, like suspension and brakes and things, be a bit wary. But if it was an advisory that it has suspension brakes, then go, okay, it's probably still got those, and if you buy it, you're going to have to fix those next time round. However, if it had it like 1 year back and now on the advisories it's not there anymore, it means they've had it repaired in the meantime, so it's probably okay. So it's given you a bit more sort of confidence in that vehicle. So once you're sure it's okay mechanically that way, you've done your bit of digging, go on to parkers.co.uk, pay the £4 I believe it is, or £7 for access to their system for a week. And what that lets you do is put your number plate of the vehicle into the system, and it will give you a guide price, and you can adjust these sort of sliders for the mileage and the options it has, and it will tell you, if it's a personal private trade, private deal, if it's in poor condition, medium condition, good condition, and then if it's a dealer selling it to you, how much you should expect to pay. And just look at that. So normally you'll see in the magazine it'll say £2,000. You'll go into Parkers, it'll say, well, it's only worth £1,500. So there's a £500 negotiation window for you, especially if you've corrected for mileage and everything. And then just go in there, and you know that you're not going to spend any more than say £500, or let's say £6 if you really want it. Sorry, £600 more. Whatever the margin is, you're prepared to spend, and then that's it. Start your negotiations at that, and use those advisories. You can say, well, I like it, but it says here last year it failed on this, that, and the other, and that's going to cost me £200. You can just either genuinely find out how much things cost to fix, or just make up a figure and say, well. And they'll say, well, you could fix that for £50. And you say, well, why don't you fix it for £50? And I'll pay you £100 more for the vehicle. Well, I'm not gonna pay you retail for fixing it, because that's my time I've got to go spend and get it fixed. So be happy to negotiate on that, because you've got facts at hand. And enjoy that. But just have that little process. The MOT advisory board thing on the government website, the Parker's pricing thing. Just go forearmed with those 2 bits of information, because you want to know that you're not buying a lemon. And if you buy it, by the way, if you really like the car but you see lots of little things wrong with it, say for example the seatbelt clip doesn't work quite well, or the head, visor isn't working, you can knock off loads of money for those. You can just say, well, if I take that to the garage, it'll be £100 or £200, and just keep knocking off things like that. And then you're going to go on eBay and buy second-hand bits to replace that. You can get a set of new mats on eBay and bits and bobs, gear stick knob, all of those things are like nothing. But you'll basically be able to sort of leverage that to get, like, maybe you'll get probably £200-300 off the asking price of a car for £50 worth of second-hand bits on eBay. That'll look amazing once you swap them. So there you go. I know it's been a bit of a rant, and but I don't know, felt I had to share something with you, get something off my chest there. I think this clock's going to do all right. You can see I'm moving it, and the whole thing's moving. It's going to sort of dry nicely and sort of seal. What I might do while we're here is just to get a bit of duct tape. Whatever brand you've got, just cheap old Poundland stuff probably, and you can just pop that also a little bit over these in whichever way it'll go, to be honest with you, because it's going to sort of dry in with that contact adhesive, and it'll form a little bit more of a sort of resilient fix in the future, so when your kids go out with whatever stick or whatever and start chucking stones or something at this clock the second time round, it might just last that tiny bit longer. So that's been of some use to you. If it has, great. If it hasn't, well, sorry for wasting your time. If you've been listening this whole time, hopefully you'll go out and buy a car, and that's going to be a useful tip for you. And thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate the feedback, and I'm gonna. I go through my good days and bad days. So some days I've got like a big stockpile. Actually, I've always got a big stockpile of crap here to go through. But sometimes I really feel up for it, and I'll just sort of make some videos and feel really upbeat. Other times I'm a bit tired, but I've got a bit of training going on. We've got Tough Mudder. Don't fancy it, but I still feel like I want to make one. But it just and the ones which aren't so great with me, a bit not miserable, but just a bit down, a bit tired. So thanks guys, thanks for watching, all the best, enjoy, well, if it's a Friday today when you're watching this, enjoy your weekend. If I happen to put it on Monday, I hope you had a great weekend. Speak to you soon guys, all the best, bye bye. bye.